Welcome to the Vertical Sky Journal, the podcast that brings you everything you could ever want to know about Kilimanjaro. The climbing and the fitness, altitude and nutrition, the environment, the wildlife, and the people at the heart of the mountain. Today, the most popular route on the whole mountain, and the most famous, the Machame route, known to many as the Whiskey Route.
Yeah, and it's honestly quite the journey. I mean, just imagine, stepping out of a sweltering, really vibrant jungle and then walking directly onto a freezing, completely barren moonscape just 48 hours later.
It sounds utterly mad when you put it like that.
Right. By all normal biological measures, your body should just reject that transition entirely. Yet, every single year, thousands of climbers actually successfully navigate that exact extreme shift on this specific trail.
Which is exactly why we're taking a deep dive into the source material today. We want to look at, well, the biology, the geography, and the strategy of the mountain's most celebrated path.
Absolutely. Because we really need to explore exactly how the Machame route sort of breaks you down and then builds you back up.
Yes, and we will also reveal the single most important scheduling decision you have to make to, actually protect your chances of reaching the summit.
Spot on. But before you even set foot on the mountain, you really have to understand what you're signing up for.
Right, because the Machame route carries this very distinct reputation, doesn't it? Which is obviously highlighted by that famous nickname, the Whiskey Route.
It is.
So where exactly does that moniker come from? Because I know it's not literal.
No, sadly, no actual whiskey is handed out. It's actually a brilliant contrast to the mountain's oldest and gentlest trail, which is the Marangu route.
Oh, the Coca-Cola route.
Exactly, the Coca-Cola route. And Marangu earned that name because it's a very straightforward, steady incline. You sleep in wooden huts, and you can even occasionally buy soft drinks along the way.
Which sounds quite lovely, honestly.
It is, but the Machame route is, well, it's entirely different. It earned the whiskey title because it's the spirited, tougher, and just much more adventurous alternative.
Right.
There are absolutely no huts. You are sleeping in tents, fully immersed in the elements. And the daily walking is, frankly, significantly steeper and much more physically demanding.
I always like to think of the Coca-Cola route as sort of a gentle, predictable Sunday stroll. It's pleasant. It's straightforward. Very clear.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
But the whiskey route is, it's like a complex, slightly peaty single malt. It demands a bit more of your palate and certainly a lot more of your physical effort.
Well, without a doubt.
But it delivers a far richer, far more dramatic experience.
Yeah.
You work harder, but that extra effort buys you these incredible shifting landscapes and towering glacial views that the easier trails just, they simply cannot match.
And that visual drama is precisely why Machame has become the undisputed people's champion of Kilimanjaro. I mean, it approaches the summit from the spectacular southern side, which packs just an enormous amount of geological variety into a very brief window.
It really does.
You spend days traversing beneath these immense southern glaciers, and the perspective of the peak is just constantly changing.
Well, let's trace that physical journey for the listener, starting from the very bottom, because the environment at the trailhead feels completely disconnected from the snowy peak you're aiming for.
Oh, completely. It's like two different planets.
Right. So day one commences at the Machame Gate, which is situated at roughly 1,800 meters. And you begin with this steady climb through a dense, dripping, lush rainforest.
Yeah, it's incredibly humid.
Humid, exactly. And the trail is often slick with mud.
Yeah.
You are just completely enveloped in this vibrant canopy that's alive with birdsong and, the occasional Galobas monkey swinging about.
It's beautiful. And you spend your first night right there at Machame Camp, just surrounded by all this thick vegetation.
But then the contrast the following morning is just striking, isn't it?
Oh, it's unbelievable. On day 2, you depart Machame Camp, and almost immediately you break through the tree line.
Just like that.
Just like that. The dense forest just vanishes beneath you, and it's replaced by the stark, wide-open expanse of the Shira Plateau moorland.
The vegetation just shrinks, doesn't it?
Yeah, down to just heather and these hardy, resilient shrubs. But most importantly, it is here that the enormous summit of Kilimanjaro finally looms into full view above you.
Right.
It gives you this persistent, undeniable visual reminder of your ultimate objective.
And the sheer speed of that environmental shift is just astonishing. I mean, consider the human body in this scenario. You travel from a humid, noisy jungle environment that is just dense with flora and fauna.
Yeah.
And suddenly you emerge onto a harsh, open moorland where the air is noticeably cooler and much thinner.
Very much so.
Experiencing such a profound shift in your surroundings and your climate in a matter of, what, barely 48 hours?
Yeah.
That must feel deeply strange to the senses.
It really is a remarkable geographical transition.
Right.
I mean, your eyes quickly adjust to the new sort of barren landscape. However, as you're, marveling at the summit ahead, there's an entirely invisible threat that begins to manifest within your bloodstream.
The altitude.
Exactly. Which brings us to day 3. This is the journey from Shira Camp to Barranco Camp. The route takes you upward to a very prominent volcanic rock formation known as the Lava Tower.
Right, and that sits at an elevation of about 4,600 meters, doesn't it?
It does, and here the altitude truly becomes a formidable factor. You really feel it.
But crucially, you don't actually stay at the lava tower.
No, you don't.
You ascend to that extreme height for lunch, maybe hang around a bit, but then you deliberately hike all the way back down to sleep at a lower elevation at Barranco Camp.
Yes, and this specific day is, well, it's the linchpin of your entire expedition. It introduces the vital mountaineering rhythm of acclimatization. You climb high and you sleep low.
Right, and I think we really need to examine the precise biological mechanism at play here for our listener.
We do, because it's fascinating. Exposing your body to the significantly thinner air at 4,600 meters at the lava tower, it acts as a deliberate stressor.
It's tricking the body, essentially.
Exactly. It triggers your kidneys to actually detect a lack of oxygen in your blood. And in response, they release a hormone called erythropoietin.
EPO.
Yes, EPO. And that hormone signals your bone marrow to start manufacturing more of those oxygen-carrying red blood cells.
It's incredible. So
Yeah.
think of the lava tower as like a vaccine for altitude.
Oh, that's a brilliant analogy.
Right. You are giving your body this small, controlled exposure to the quote-unquote disease of thin air at an extreme height. And that triggers a biological immune response.
Yeah, the rapid production of red blood cells.
Exactly. And then you immediately retreat to the relative safety of Barranco Camp to just let your body do the internal work without getting fully sick.
It's spot on, because manufacturing those new red blood cells requires immense energy. If you actually attempted to sleep at the lava tower, your body would just exhaust itself simply trying to keep your organs oxygenated.
So there'd be no energy left for adaptation at all.
None. By retreating to a lower elevation at Barranco Camp for the night, you provide your body with the thicker, more oxygen-rich air it desperately requires to recuperate overnight.
So you secure the adaptive benefits of the high altitude while giving your body the environment it needs to actually build the new red blood cells.
Precisely. And having recovered and adapted at Barranco Camp, you wake up on day 4 to face the route's most famous physical obstacle.
Oh, yes. Now, if you were sitting at home listening to this deep dive right now, the idea of scrambling up a near-vertical rock face at 4,000 meters probably sounds utterly terrifying.
I'm sure it does.
And we are, of course, talking about the Barranco Wall, often affectionately referred to as the breakfast wall because, well, you tackle it first thing in the morning right after breakfast.
It's quite the wake-up call. And the Barranco Wall certainly appears intimidating when you view it from the camp below. I mean, it literally looks like a sheer cliff.
It really does look imposing.
It does. However, it is vital to understand its true nature. It is actually a really fun, hands-on scramble.
So it's not a technical climb then?
No, not at all. It is not a technical rock climb that requires ropes or harnesses or any specialist mountaineering skills. It's more of an engaging physical puzzle.
You just sort of pick your way up.
Yeah, you will use your hands to pull yourself up over large boulders, just navigating this winding path to the top. And the effort is immensely rewarding because it delivers one of the most photographed and spectacular views of the mountain right there below the clouds.
It's stunning. But after navigating the wall, the trail continues on towards Barranco Camp. And here we arrive at a really pivotal juncture in our discussion today.
We do.
Because climbers face a fundamental choice right here between booking a 6-day itinerary or a 7-day itinerary for the Machame route.
Yeah, and it's a huge decision.
The 6-day version remains remarkably popular because, let's be honest, it is a little cheaper and slightly quicker.
Right.
It skips the overnight stay at Barranco Camp entirely and just rushes straight from the Barranco Wall to the summit base camp at Barafu.
And we really must offer a very firm, honest take on this decision. Choosing the 6-day version asks a tremendous, often frankly unreasonable amount of your body.
It's a huge risk.
It is. It bypasses a vital acclimatization and rest day. We strongly advocate for the 7-day choice. Taking that extra day to sleep at Barranco Camp is the single best upgrade you can make on the Machame route.
The single best upgrade.
Without question. It noticeably lifts your summit success rate because it grants your physiology the extra 24 hours it desperately needs for those newly minted red blood cells, the ones we talked about at Lava Tower, to actually mature before the final push.
Wait, let me challenge you on that premise for a second, just plain devil's advocate.
Go on.
If the 6-day itinerary is cheaper and it gets you to the top faster, isn't that just the smart play? I mean, why spend an extra 24 hours sleeping in a freezing tent on the side of a mountain if you don't absolutely have to?
Well, it's a compelling argument on paper, I'll give you that.
Right.
But it's a very dangerous biological gamble in reality.
How so?
When you skip Karenga Camp, you are effectively combining 2 already demanding days into one grueling marathon. You tackle the Barranco Wall, you cross multiple valleys, and then you immediately push up this really steep, exhausting incline to Barafu Base Camp.
That sounds brutal.
It is. You arrive at base camp just utterly depleted. Your muscles are fatigued, your oxygen reserves are completely drained. And then you're expected to wake up just a few hours later at midnight to attempt the most difficult climb of your life.
Right. So the extra day at Karanga isn't merely about rest then?
No, not at all. It's about active cellular adaptation and, frankly, preserving your leg strength for the summit night.
It's a profound false economy, really. You travel all the way across the world, you invest heavily in the expedition, you dedicate months to training,
Exactly.
jeopardizing the entire objective for the sake of a slightly cheaper price tag and a 24-hour shortcut just seems completely illogical.
The statistics bear this out definitively, too. I mean, the overall success rate on Machame is good, but it is significantly higher for climbers who are on the 7-day schedule.
The numbers don't lie.
They don't. Your number of days, your pacing, and the quality of your operator influence the outcome far more than just the route name alone. As an ethical climbing company, we witness firsthand the undeniable difference that the extra day at Karanga makes to a climber's strength, their morale, and ultimately their safety.
Which is why we insist on it.
Yes, we insist on proper pacing, fairly paid crews, and carrying emergency oxygen on every climb because rushing the mountain always ends poorly.
Always. Now, assuming you've done the sensible thing, and with the body properly primed by that 7-day schedule, you arrive at Barafu Camp.
The base camp.
The base camp. Which brings us to the ultimate test. Day 6, the final push to the top. The roof of Africa.
Yes, summit night. It begins with a midnight start. You wake up in the pitch dark, force down a hot drink and some biscuits if you can manage it.
Usually quite difficult at that altitude.
Very difficult. And then you step out of your tent into the freezing air. Your objective is to push upward through the thinning atmosphere to witness the sunrise from Uhuru Peak, which stands at 5,895 meters.
And there's a profound psychological element to that midnight start because, well, hiking in the pitch dark entirely strips away the overwhelming scale of the mountain above you.
It's a blessing in disguise, really.
It is, because if you could actually see the vast, towering distance remaining to the peak, your brain might simply refuse to continue. It's just too much.
Absolutely.
Instead, you are forced to focus entirely on just the tiny, illuminated patch of ground directly in front of your boots caught in the beam of your headlamp.
Yeah, your whole world shrinks.
It reduces this insurmountable, terrifying challenge into a simple, repetitive matter of placing one foot in front of the other.
And it really is an exercise in pure mental endurance. Your breathing becomes shallow, your pace slows to an absolute crawl, and the temperature drops well below freezing.
It's tough.
Very tough. However, as the sky begins to lighten, you reach Stella Point on the crater rim, and the gradient finally eases.
The relief at that point must be immense.
It's incredible. You walk the final stretch past these ancient glaciers as the sun crests the horizon, painting the African plains far below in this brilliant orange. Upon reaching Uhuru Peak and standing at 5,895 meters, the sense of achievement is just unparalleled.
But climbers often forget that the journey is only half complete at that point, don't they?
Oh, all the time.
Following the sunrise of the summit, you face a rather cruel reality. You have to turn around and undertake an immediate, long, and exhausting descent.
And the descent is frequently cited as the hardest part of the entire expedition.
Really? Harder than going up?
For a lot of people, yes. Your adrenaline fades, your knees bear the absolute brunt of gravity on this loose volcanic scree, and you are operating on a severe sleep deficit.
And it's a massive drop in elevation, isn't it?
Massive. You must travel a vast distance down the mountain that same day, descending all the way through the moorland to reach the lower, significantly warmer environment of Weka Camp.
Right. And then finally, day 7 involves the concluding descent. You travel down through the beautiful humid rainforest back to the Mueca Gate.
Full circle.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it is there that your climbing certificate, a cold drink, and a very well-earned feast await you.
It's the best meal you'll ever have. So having completed the virtual journey from the gate to the summit and back, we really must step back and synthesize all this information.
Yeah. We need to weigh the pros and cons of Machame to help you determine if this is the ideal path for your own expedition.
Let's examine the positive aspects first. Machame offers dramatic, varied, and just beautiful scenery every single day.
It's visually stunning.
It holds an iconic, time-tested classic status among mountaineers. You experience the magnificent Barranco Wall scramble, you enjoy the superb southern approach to the summit, and it just offers excellent value for the landscapes you witness.
Conversely, though, we do have to carefully consider the drawbacks. Machame is the busiest route on Kilimanjaro.
By far.
So if you are seeking absolute wilderness and solitude, you are not going to find it here. You will share the camps and the trails with many other groups.
That's just the reality of it.
Furthermore, it involves steeper and more demanding daily walking than other trails. And as we noted earlier, you're camping throughout with no huts available.
Right. And if we compare it briefly to the Lemosho route, well, Lemosho shares that same spectacular southern approach to the summit, but it offers quieter, more scenic opening days.
And slightly better acclimatization, too, right?
Yes, due to a longer initial trek.
And of course, if you desire the gentlest possible gradient and prefer the comfort of sleeping in wooden huts, you really should look toward the Marengo route.
Ultimately, Machame is a brilliant choice for the reasonably fit, adventurous climber. It perfectly suits the individual who wants sheer drama and variety, who enjoys a vibrant atmosphere, and really doesn't mind sharing the trail with fellow climbers.
And who is willing to work a bit harder each day to earn those spectacular views.
Exactly. It is a superb first Kilimanjaro for most people, provided they heed the physiological realities of the altitude.
Which brings us to our primary takeaway for this deep dive. The Machame route is a spectacular, dramatic undertaking. It will test your physical limits and reward you with unimaginable beauty, provided you respect the mountain and give your body the 7 full days it needs to acclimatize properly.
Well said. The meticulous preparation, the disciplined pacing, and the willingness to endure that steeper gradient are precisely what make the summit possible on the Whiskey Route.
Earlier, we discussed the specific psychology of the midnight summit push. We talked about how hiking in the pitch dark, focusing entirely on that tiny patch of ground illuminated by your headlamp, reduces an insurmountable mountain into just a simple matter of taking the next step.
It's a powerful shift in perspective.
It really is, and it makes you wonder, in what other areas of our lives are we failing to achieve something monumental simply because we are paralyzed by the overwhelming big picture instead of just focusing on the 3 feet directly in front of us?